Well, good morning, everybody, or evening, depending on what time you're viewing this. It's finally the weekend again, and the kids are still asleep, affording me a little time of my own to take care of some things around here, namely the chickens right now. It's been a pretty soggy fall, and the birds could use a fresh layer of wood chips across their run. Besides the normal wear and tear from the scratching and pecking about in the run in search of the cheeky grub or grasshopper, the floor of our chicken run seems to degrade rather quickly, probably due to the slope of the hill on which it's built. But whether it's the birds or the bluff to blame, the simple fact is the floor needs some fixing up. These here wood chips were deposited here after a neighbor of ours had a few trees taken down and ground up. He had more than enough for his own projects and offered some to us, and we can always use the wood chips. And these are wood chips. This is not just a pile of leaves. I believe this particular pile was from one of his oaks, so that would make this hardwood. You'd think it would break down more slowly, we wouldn't have to maintain it so often, but we've yet to find a way to keep it in place. It always seems to wash or be flung from searching, scratching feet downhill towards the garden. I don't think you guys have had much of a tour of what we call our homestead up to this point, and so you'll get a little bit of a view here. We don't actually own this, but we rent here, and we're given a lot of leeway from some family members of ours, and we're very thankful for that. We love it here. But you'll get a little bit of a glimpse here. We got some trees, we got some pasture, we got some old tractor tires, obviously. Quite a bit of pasture, actually. There used to be horses here, and who knows, maybe one day we'll have something here eating grass again. We have dreams of maybe a cow, maybe some sheep, maybe some goats. The sheep and goats would be for meat. The cow would be for milk. But who knows, maybe we do a beef cow too. But those are just dreams for now. It's hard enough just keeping up with the birds some days, with the normal demands of work and little children. So, all good things going on, but everything takes time. So, we just got the birds in the garden right now. It's been a tough late fall for the birds. With my work schedule, I haven't been able to free range them as frequently as I'd like. The automatic chicken door seemed promising, but after the initial letdown of it opening and closing when it wasn't supposed to, thus creating more work for me, I haven't had time to fool with it. Otherwise, I'd have them out for the last 2 hours of daylight every day. I'm figuring this is why they've been so long at their egg strike. We get one a day some days, less other days. Not really sure what these little specks are on here. Almost reminds me of little eggs from bugs, but I'm sure it's not that. Probably has something to do with the calcium deficiency or something. I'm not sure what that is, but it brushes off easily enough. But we've been getting about one egg for about 3 months, I'd say. I assume it's just a drawn-out molt, but man, they are taking their sweet, sweet time. I don't expect much from the rooster, but these ladies have got to know we are counting on them. The ground here has been just super soggy. The ground does a poor job of letting moisture go in our field. It seems like it's all clay at the top, so holds on to things, and the grass, slips off under your feet, even if it hasn't been rainy. It always seems like there's moisture, so it stays pretty wet up here, which isn't great for the Brahmas, but when they free range, the Brahmas always seem pretty happy, so I think it makes up for it. They're hardy, beautiful birds, but I know it's not healthy for these guys just to be walking around in mud and their own manure, so These chips should do them good. I would love to be able to say that this was a thick bedding. I've heard people talk about 12 to 18 inches of wood chips. I am shooting for about 3 to 4 inches here. You saw how far I had to walk with this wheelbarrow, and it would just take a long time. One of my hopes with laying down this fresh wood chip bedding is that the chickens would just feel less stressed, more at home, more looked after in a cleaner, more woody environment with things to kick around. Then, maybe they'll lay better if they feel taken care of. I know what you're thinking. It might not be scientific, but I can dream, can't I? I can see immediately these birds are happier and eager to be out and about, more eager than I've seen them in days. So already we're off to a good start here with these wood chips. And now for some on-camera commentary on the feed we're using. Take it away. We changed our feed about a year ago to something local. There's a farmer that gets his stuff from some Amish farms. And this is not the soy-free blend. This is soybeans in it, corn, some fish byproducts, some kelp. These big white rocks are oyster shell. So it's been a good change. It's dubbed a high-protein feed, 19% protein. When we first switched to it, the chickens were extremely enthusiastic. They've kind of tapered off until about this week, actually. They were eating it again with more gusto. So I don't know what goes on inside of them. I know their needs change as they need to grow their winter feathers. They go through their molt. That's what their molt is. Usually they're getting rid of their summer feathers so they can get their winter feathers in. Ours have been molting, it seems like, for 3 months. So we're going to reintroduce some of their favorite snacks here. Usually what I do is I have their food. I get their the food scraps from upstairs. This is just eggshells and pepper seeds. I'll break up that egg so it doesn't look like an egg again. And then this is the bottom, the brown stuff, that's buckwheat, or we call it grechka. So I just mix that in. And then I'll usually take my grub terras and, they'll probably eat as many as I'd give them, but I give them probably, let's say, half a cup to 3/4 cup. And man, they actually go crazy over this stuff. By far their favorite part of their food. At this point in the video, I do want to say thank you to Grub Terra for coming alongside me and sending me this bag of dried black soldier fly larvae. The chickens absolutely love this. The first part of their feed that they go to, they devour this. So check out grubterra.com. I think you'll be very happy giving these to your birds. And now for the thought of the day. Something that's been on my mind lately is, this is far different from chicken raising, but bear with me if you care to. Seems like a lot of people, there was even a comment on one of my videos recently, it's faith related, and a lot of people seem to have a problem with the fear of God, and they'll quote something from, I think it's 1 John, where it's perfect love casts out fear, but they're using that out of context, and I think that's what that's talking about. I'll have to go back for you guys, but it's talking about fear of like wicked things, fear of death, fear of hell. There is no fear of hell, and that you lose that in perfect love because you're not afraid of death anymore. Death is like a friend or a doorway beckoning you to heaven, to God at the end of your life. So you lose that fear when you're in Christ, when you have salvation. But back to what I first said, people seem to have a problem with the fear of God. The fear of God is your friend, as much as I'm your friend. And I am your friend. But the fear of God is so important. Proverbs said it's the beginning of wisdom. Why, if it's the beginning of wisdom, would we be casting it off as we get more perfect? We're not going to be perfect in this lifetime, first of all. So we're always going to need that fear. We're never going to be able to cast it out for perfect love. Or throw it off. The fear of God is what keeps us in line. So it keeps us from sinning. If we're not focusing on
the goodness of God, for example. And if that's not enough to keep us from sinning, and it should be, if we were to focus on how grand and majestic God is, that should keep us from sinning. Not only because of how wonderful He is, and just in awe and wonder of that, and a great thing, but then how great He is should also instill some kind of fear in us. Again, fear, like if we don't obey Him, the consequences being super grave. So, if the goodness of God, the kindness of God is not enough to keep you from sinning, and it should be ideally, but rarely is it, then surely, knowing having the fear of God in you and fear of sin, David says, I store up your word in my heart that I may not sin against you. So, David knew, okay, it's not good to sin against God. And the fear of the Lord keeps us from that. And I think people may have a bad, negative idea of the fear of the Lord because maybe they've been brought up and manipulated by, oh, God's going to get you if you do this, as children or even as young adults. I don't know, but that's not how God is. His wrath is stored up for a time of judgment. It says we're storing up His wrath for the end, for the day of judgment. And it's not something that you do a bad thing and the hammer falls on you right then and there. It's God isn't waiting to smack you. God is a good father. God is a good father, and we're all His children, and He can't let sin go unpunished, because when we sin, usually we're hurting another one of His kids. And as a father, I love my kids, but if one kid starts hurting another kid, I have to punish that first kid, because I care about all my kids, not just the one who's being the tease. I care about all of them, and he's affecting the rest of them. But there's also things I've just said in general, like don't put your fingers in the outlet. Don't, jump off the deck, And those things, they're not hurting the other kids, they're hurting only themselves. But, if I see my kid putting his fingers in the outlet, there's punishment. And there has to be. It's keeping him safe. It's keeping him alive. Otherwise, something terrible may befall him. So my punishment is meant to lead him to life. And God, being the perfect Father, and His punishment is meant to lead us to life. And His laws are meant to lead us to life. So the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. It is your friend. And I hope more people can understand it as a good thing, as an amazing thing, and not some weird, twisted, fear is a good thing. I don't know. I can see people twisting it, but it's really a great thing. Let's feed these chickens. They are scratching away happily. Let's give them this feed here. I know it's not great to feed them on the ground. This is what I got set up right now. I see them eating everything off the ground when I let them out, so even if I were to put their feet in a container, they're still going to be eating off the ground. So I'm not sure what the science says about that, but something about how Merrick's is in the ground. The more they eat off the ground, the more likely they are to get and die from Merrick's. But if you free range these guys, they're pecking at the ground all day long. So I don't see how it makes a difference, but it must. There is science out there. So I guess that'd be better to put their feet in a dish. That way they'd be eating out of the ground less. Well, it's starting to get a little rainy here, so I'll let these girls and Guy food in peace. It does look like they're enjoying it. They're probably just grabbing all the grubs. Yeah, they're going after all the grubs first, of course. So, hey, got more of those? It's all for today. I'm not going to give you too many at once. All right, just another day on the homestead. No, I haven't had very many homesteading videos lately. It's been a very busy season for work. It's December now. Obviously, Christmas is coming, so we got the normal life busyness. We got the work busyness. Just busy, but I can't keep using that as an excuse. Everyone's busy. Life is busy. People say, "How are you?" It's like, "Oh, good, but busy." But everybody's busy. So, yeah, I'm trying to get more homesteading videos set up for you guys. But if you guys have any questions about the chickens, what we're doing to keep them warm this winter. Still got to figure out their water. If anybody has any ideas for a non-electric solution to water not freezing in the winter, let me know. I'd be all ears. So, but thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out with me, and hope you guys have a great day. And if you don't tune into another video between now and Christmas, have yourself a merry little Christmas. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. God bless you.